In our headlines on this Monday, July 20th, here in South Korea. The future of the world's most treasured heritage sites is under discussion in the southern port city of Busan, where South Korea is hosting UNESCO's World Heritage Committee session for the first time. Meanwhile, the U.S. concludes a 9th straight night of strikes against Iran on Sunday, following news of a U.S. service member killed in action in Iraq this past weekend, raising the death toll of U.S. service members in the war with Iran to 17. And on the football field, Spain wins the 2026 FIFA World Cup with a 1-0 victory against Argentina, while K-pop sensation BTS and actress Jang Ho-yeon join the final celebrations. Against the backdrop of war, climate change and growing threats to cultural heritage, South Korea has welcomed thousands of delegates to Busan for UNESCO's annual World Heritage Committee meeting. Our culture correspondent Chung Hae-rim files this report from the southern port city.
The UNESCO World Heritage Committee adopted the Busan Declaration on Monday, a South Korea-led initiative calling for stronger international cooperation to protect World Heritage sites. It proposes adding collaboration as the sixth strategic objective of the World Heritage Convention, alongside the existing 5 priorities, while also highlighting challenges posed by armed conflict, climate change, development pressures, and rapid technological change.
The Busan Declaration, adopted during the opening session, will serve as a key achievement of this World Heritage Committee and a milestone for the future.
Korean culture is also being showcased beyond the conference hall through the K Heritage House from Monday to July 29th, where visitors can explore dozens of exhibitions, performances, and interactive experiences highlighting Korea's cultural and natural heritage. The first plenary sessions saw delegates adopting the committee's agenda and timetable before beginning discussions on reports from the World Heritage Center and its advisory bodies. The afternoon session focused on ways to strengthen heritage protection in Africa and small island developing states. The committee will spend the coming days reviewing the conservation status of existing World Heritage sites before turning to new inscriptions and modifications, including South Korea's proposal to expand the Gov't, Korean tidal flats World Heritage Site. Chung Hae-rim, Arirang News, Busan.
Staying in Busan, President Lee Jae-myung used the opening of UNESCO's World Heritage Committee meeting there to call for greater international cooperation, adding that protecting the world's shared cultural heritage is key to building a more peaceful future. Our top office correspondent Yoon Jung-min reports.
Working toward a peaceful future through global solidarity during times of division. That was the core message by President Lee Jae-myung speaking at the opening ceremony of the 48th session of the World Heritage Committee on Sunday in Busan. He took note of this year's meeting taking place in South Korea as UNESCO commemorates the 150th anniversary of the birth of independence activist Baekbom Kim-gu, adding that his recognition of culture and peace aligns with UNESCO's spirit of constructing the defenses of peace.
높은 문화의 힘을 바탕으로 인류의 소중한 유산을 함께 지키고 세계의 평화와 번영에 기여하는 나라로 백범 선생의 뜻을 이어가겠습니다.
The president also highlighted the remarkable economic growth Korea has achieved through international cooperation, noting that it has transformed itself into a cultural powerhouse that connects with people around the world.
원조를 받던 나라에서 원조를 하는 나라로, 나아가 문화의 가치를 함께 나누는 나라로 성장한 우리 대한민국의 여정은 협력과 연대가 만들어낸 인류 공동의 성공 사례라고 자부합니다.
He called the country's southeastern city of Busan a living proof of how international cooperation can change the destiny of a city, saying that the city has risen from the ashes of the Korean War and grown into a global maritime city. On Sunday, Lee and UNESCO Director General Khaled Al-Anani discussed bolstering the partnership between Korea and UNESCO, noting cooperation in the areas of education, culture, and science. The UNESCO chief toured the K Heritage House exhibition hall along with President Lee and First Lady Kim Hae-kyung. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
Over in the Middle East, reports of additional U.S. casualties in recent days triggered intense U.S. retaliation against Iran this past Sunday, raising the risks of a wider conflict. Our Oh Soo-young has the latest.
The United States has carried out a 9th consecutive night of strikes on Iran as the death of 3 American service members fuels a widening cycle of retaliation. President Donald Trump said the latest attack was intended to honor the 3 troops, adding that Iran had suffered a major military blow.
Iran has been very, very badly damaged. They've lost everything almost militarily. They've got very little left. They've got some missiles. They've got some drones. They've got some manufacturing ability, not much. We control the Strait. They don't control anything. So we'll see what happens, but we hit them very hard again tonight, and we did that in honor of the probably 3, it's probably 3 as opposed to 2, great patriots.
U.S. Central Command says the operation began at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Sunday and continued for 3 hours. It targeted Iranian military command centers, air defense systems, and coastal surveillance facilities. 2 U.S. service members were killed Friday during an Iranian missile and drone attack on American forces in Jordan. A 3rd died Saturday in northern Iraq while carrying out a controlled detonation of unexploded ordnance from a downed Iranian attack drone. The deaths bring confirmed U.S. military fatalities since the war began to 17. Unidentified remains have also been recovered from the site of Friday's attack in Jordan. If they are confirmed as belonging to a missing U.S. service member, the toll would rise to 18. Iran, meanwhile, expanded its attacks on Sunday. Air raid sirens sounded in Bahrain, home to the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet, while Kuwait says it intercepted another Iranian drone. The Revolutionary Guard also says it struck the U.S. base at Al-Tanf in Syria. Tehran has separately accused Washington of striking the construction site of the dock of a nuclear power plant. The IAEA says the facility contained no nuclear material and poses no radiological risk. Tensions are also growing in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran claims 2 tankers exploded while attempting to use what it called an unsafe route late Sunday, warning that oil, gas and fertilizer shipments would remain at risk. The cause remains unconfirmed, although a British maritime agency separately reported a vessel on fire around 15 kilometers off Oman's Busan Peninsula. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
And global oil prices are soaring in response to the renewed fighting between the U.S. and Iran. Brent crude futures topped the $90 mark for the first time since June 11th, gaining over 3% to $90.8 a barrel as of this past Sunday. West Texas Intermediate also rose more than 3% to slightly over $85 a barrel. Market observers warn that prolonged supply chain disruptions within the Strait of Hormuz may further drive up raw material costs and aggravate global inflation. The government here, for its part, is stepping up efforts to shield the South Korean economy from mounting global risks, including U.S. trade measures and instability in the Middle East. Our Lee Ju-yeon has more.
The Korean government has designated the stable management of the external environment as a core task amid rising external uncertainties. According to the ministerial meeting on international economic affairs on Monday, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance and Economy Koo Yoon-chul said the government will leverage its cooperation networks built through bilateral summits to manage external risks. Minister Koo announced that the government is closely coordinating with the U.S. on trade management and that it is putting the national interest first. He explained that the officials are actively discussing responses to U.S. tariff measures and follow-up implementations to counter non-tariff barriers. Regarding the plan to invest $350 billion in the U.S., he said Korea is reviewing its commercial feasibility and implementation system. Following the enforcement of the Korea-U.S. Strategic Investment Special Act in June, the government has launched the Project Management Committee and the Steering Committee to build the institutional and infrastructural foundations for the investment. The government has also laid out frameworks for strategic economy cooperation. This includes a comprehensive official development assistance business model, the KAI package, aimed at enhancing the growth potential of developing countries. The core of the K-AI package lies in upgrading traditional ODA projects into AI-driven initiatives, building AI solutions, data centers, and the necessary power infrastructure alongside it. During the meeting, Korea's finalizations of a comprehensive economic partnership agreement with Bangladesh was also discussed. The government aims to improve market access for Korean businesses in Bangladesh and secure a strategic hub to penetrate the wider Southwest Asian market. Lee Ju-yeon, Arirang News.
South Korean stocks suffered a sharp sell-off this morning, triggering sell-side sidecars in both the KOSPI and KOSDAQ markets earlier in the day. The benchmark KOSPI closed at 6,516.2, down over 4% from the previous session. The tech-heavy KOSDAQ also ended down at 749.6, surrendering over 5%. The losses were led by investors unloading more stocks linked to artificial intelligence. And a global sell-off in semiconductor stocks is hitting South Korean chipmakers hard as investors growing increasingly skeptical about whether massive AI investments will deliver the returns that have been promised. Our Park Chun-han reports.
The global semiconductor stock sell-off has wiped out massive market value in recent weeks. When it comes to correction, the Korean market has been no exception. Major memory chip makers like Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix have seen their shares fall by at least 30% from their recent highs just a few weeks ago, effectively pulling the KOSPI down from the 9,300 level to the mid-6,000s. The main driver is growing skepticism surrounding artificial intelligence investments. For months, U.S. tech giants such as Alphabet, Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon have been pouring hundreds of billions of dollars of capital expenditure, or CapEx, into AI infrastructure. Their combined CapEx is projected to reach unprecedented levels by 2027. However, investors are now demanding proof that these massive spending sprees are generating measurable financial returns. This ideology extends to memory stocks as well. While investors acknowledge that memory leaders are set to post unprecedented earnings, many are selling the stocks, questioning whether further price hikes and margin expansion can continue. Despite the recent plunge, memory chip fundamentals remain relatively solid. DRAM prices are continuing their upward trend, and demand for AI investments remains strong. Yet, global stock prices are facing adjustments amid moves of risk-averse profit-taking. Adding to this pressure are geopolitical tensions, particularly the resurgence of war in the Middle East. Depending on the guidance big tech firms provide, investors will see whether the current market correction deepens or whether Korea's chip giants can finally stage a meaningful rebound. If big tech companies reaffirm their massive spending and express confidence in returns on their investments, it would be a positive sign for chip stocks. If not, it could further weigh on investor sentiment. Park Jun-han, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, at the National Assembly, political tensions are rising as the ruling and opposition parties face off over extending the special counsel investigation to former President Yoon Suk-yeol. Our political correspondent An Sung-jin explains.
Political tensions are escalating as the ruling Democratic Party pushes to extend the mandate of a special counsel investigating former President Yoon Suk-yeol and former First Lady Kim Gon-hee on allegations of insurrection and abuse of power. During a plenary session on Monday, the DP proposed an amendment which would allow the special counsel's investigation to continue for an additional 30 days, extending the deadline from July 24th to August 23rd.
The special counsel has faced limits in both time and manpower. That's why we're proposing this amendment, to extend the investigation, expand its scope, and increase staffing so the probe can be carried out thoroughly.
However, the effort has been stalled by an opposition filibuster from the People Power Party. The main opposition PPP has announced the extension as politically motivated and aimed at suppressing the opposition.
Once again, they're asking for more time. If that's the case, they should clearly explain why. Instead, they're giving the same reasons. If it keeps being extended, can this still be called a special investigation?
The probe launch in February has received 2 extensions under the existing bill. The proposed bill would expand the number of seconded government officials supporting the investigation from 130 to 150, add obstruction of government audits to a list of prosecutable offenses, and authorize the appointment of dedicated prosecutors to handle cases brought by the special counsel in court. The standoff is expected to continue into Tuesday. However, the ruling party can seek to end the filibuster after 24 hours with the backing of 3/5 of lawmakers. Given the DP's majority, the bill is expected to be voted on Tuesday afternoon, where it is widely expected to pass. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Beyond borders, after hosting a senior Chinese delegation in Pyongyang last week, North Korea dispatched its foreign minister Choi Sun-hee to the Kremlin this past weekend for talks with Russia's Vladimir Putin. Our Kim Do-yeon reports.
Russian President Vladimir Putin showed his closeness to North Korea on Sunday local time, personally welcoming Foreign Minister Choi Sun-hee during her official visit to Moscow just 9 months after her last trip.
I would like to once again express my gratitude for the support of our special military operation and for the decision to send soldiers of the Korean People's Army to participate in the liberation of the Kursk region.
The Democratic People's Republic of Korea will continue to unwaveringly support all of Russia's efforts aimed at upholding its sovereignty, security interests, and territorial integrity, and at eliminating the root causes of the crisis in Ukraine.
This engagement follows a series of recent events demonstrating Pyongyang's close ties with China. As North Korea moves to woo Russia as well, the diplomatic push leverages a critical opening created by the ongoing conflict.
Russia is currently in a highly unfavorable wartime situation where tighter military collaboration with North Korea has become an absolute necessity.
Recent data from the Center for Strategic and International Studies shows Russian casualties hitting 30,000 a month, outpacing recruitment. Compounded by shrinking frontline control and relentless drone strikes, Moscow faces crippling attrition, forcing it to rely on North Korea, which, according to reports, has supplied massive ammunition stocks and up to 15,000 troops.
From Russia's perspective, they need more weapons support due to the intensifying war. For North Korea, they are likely demanding faster transfers of advanced military technology and economic cooperation in return for their troop deployment.
With mutual strategic dependency rapidly accelerating, eyes are now on whether Kim Jong-un will make a trip to Russia himself by the end of the year. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
And on the football field, Spain won the 2026 FIFA World Cup with a 1-0 victory against Argentina, while K-pop sensation BTS and actress Chung Ho-yeon joined the final celebrations. Our Lee Seung-jae has the highlights.
Spain defeated Argentina 1-0 at the New York, New Jersey Stadium on Sunday to win the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Spain controlled the match from start to finish, preventing Argentina from having a single shot on target. The defensive masterclass was a fitting end to a remarkable campaign in which Spain conceded just 1 goal throughout the tournament. However, the decisive moment came in the 106th minute of extra time when Ferran Torres found a breakthrough against a 10-man Argentina, sealing a 1-0 victory and Spain's World Cup triumph. The World Cup victory marked Spain's second title, having previously won the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. Meanwhile, actress Chung Ho-yeon and K-pop supergroup BTS made appearances at the 2026 FIFA World Cup final. Chung took part in the pre-match trophy presentation as a global ambassador for Louis Vuitton, appearing alongside Spanish tennis star Carlos Alcaraz. The pair opened the Louis Vuitton trophy case before unveiling the FIFA World Cup trophy to the crowd. At halftime, BTS took the stage as one of the performers in the tournament's first ever World Cup final halftime show, sharing the spotlight with global stars including Madonna, Justin Bieber, and Shakira. The group energized the stadium with a performance of its hit song Dynamite. Member Jungkook also marked a World Cup milestone, having performed Dreamers, the official soundtrack of the 2022 Qatar World Cup, at the 2022 opening ceremony, before returning 4 years later to perform at the final on Sunday. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
And on the big screen, Korean sci-fi film Hope by director Na Hong-jin has surpassed the 2 million admission mark less than a week after its release, making the fastest film to reach this box office milestone this year. Now, this is according to industry insiders. Hope, starring Hwang Jung-min, Cho In-sung and Chung Ho-yeon, opened at local theaters on July 15th. The film follows a local police chief of a small harbor town who is called to look into reports of a potential tiger in the neighborhood, only to discover a far worse danger.
This is the world now. Andy Burnham takes office as Britain's Prime Minister on Monday, replacing Keir Starmer as leader of the governing Labour Party. Burnham, the former mayor of Greater Manchester, was declared Labour leader on Friday after running unopposed to replace Starmer, who resigned after 2 years following a fall in popularity and a rebellion within his own party. Burnham will be Britain's 7th Prime Minister since 2016. His office says one of his first moves will be scrapping a planned digital ID scheme, originally designed to curb illegal migration, and redirecting the funding toward cost of living support. In Peru, at least 6 people have been killed and 21 injured after 2 earthquakes struck a mountainous region on Saturday night. The quakes hit Chupaca province in the Junin region, about 300 kilometers east of Lima. Peru's National Seismological Center measured them at magnitudes 5.1 and 3.7, while the European Mediterranean Seismological Center reported the first at magnitude 5.6. Peru's civil defense head said about 48 homes have been destroyed and another 18 damaged, affecting roughly 300 people who are being sheltered in tents. Emergency crews were clearing debris Sunday amid concern that more victims could be trapped. A leather jacket belonging to NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang has been sold at auction for $960,000 US. The Tom Ford jacket drew 65 bids from 45 collectors at Sotheby's on Friday. It sold for more than 15 times its pre-sale estimate of $40,000 to $60,000. The jacket was authenticated using photo matching to footage of Huang wearing it at a Foxconn event in Taipei in October 2023. Huang has worn similar leather jackets for more than a decade at NVIDIA product launches and conferences. Proceeds from the sale will go to a philanthropic initiative supporting a non-profit that organizes gatherings for people in tech, science, and culture. Ju Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
We're seeing on and off rain in Seoul at the moment. A band of heavy rain is stretching across much of the central regions right now. The seasonal rain front will stick around this week, bringing rounds of monsoon rain to different parts of the country. Through today, up to 60 millimeters of rain will fall across the central regions and Gyeongsangbuk-do province. Elsewhere, most places will pick up around 5 to 40 millimeters of rain. After days of heavy rain, the ground is already saturated across much of the country. So please stay alert for possible landslides and any additional damage. Tomorrow, Seoul will start the day at 24 degrees Celsius, Chuncheon 23 and Busan 26 degrees. Then by the afternoon, Seoul will get up to 29 degrees, Daejeon 31 degrees, Daegu 34 degrees. Tomorrow morning, the capital area and Gangwon-do province could see intense downpours of around 50 millimeters an hour. If you're heading out for the morning commute, give yourself a little extra time and stay safe. Now here's a look at the weather around the world.
Right, those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Coming up right after this break is our daily panel session, so do stay with us and thank you for now.